The next day, Yo-Yo arrives with May and joins Emilie, Simmons, and Quake in the kitchen area. "Emilie, this is Yo-Yo," says Quake, introducing the two. "Why do they call you Yo-Yo?" Suddenly, Emilie notices her holding a water bottle, and then an apple. She looks around confused. "I'm really fast," she says. Yo-Yo can phase shift between her current location and others within a blink, clarifies Simmons. "Maybe you can give Emilie some pointers." "That doesn't sound like the same thing I do." "What is it that you do?" asks Yo-Yo. "I teleport without warning." Yo-Yo nods her head. "You and me should get together. Maybe we can figure something out." DeMarcus calls Robbie and Mac into the shop. A big rig pulls up just before they arrive. Mac and Robbie look on as the driver hands DeMarcus a set of keys and signs a few forms. "Getting into the trucking business?" asks Robbie. "I got a shipment coming in with some equipment." DeMarcus looks at Mac. "You any good with diesel?" "I can do it all," replies Mac. DeMarcus throws Mac the keys and pulls Robbie to the side. "I could use your help. I got a shipment coming in with some heavy equipment tonight. My supplier's gonna set up shop here in LA. You down to drive?" "I'm always down to drive," replies Robbie. "What kind of equipment are we talking about?" "Lab equipment, computers, chemical containers, all that sciencey stuff. He's sending one of his associates down with it. Bring it to the club after you finish loading everything." Yo-Yo finds Emilie with Coulson in his office. "If you're not too busy, I thought we could see about your random poofing," she asked. Coulson releases Emilie, and she and Yo-Yo drive over to an old abandoned airplane hangar. "What happens when you teleport?" asks Yo-Yo. "What goes through your mind?" "Nothing. I just sneeze and end up somewhere else." "When I move, I'm relaxed. I think about where I want to go, and once I move, time slows around me. I want you to try that." Emilie unties the corset and frees her wings. Yo-Yo looks on surprised, having just seen them. She concentrates and thinks about moving to another part of the hangar. She takes a deep breath and closes her eyes, but nothing happens. "This is ridiculous. Picture where it is you want to go, and then be there." Emilie closes her eyes again and pictures herself on the other side of the hangar. She feels herself lose her balance and opens her eyes to find herself in the same spot. "Don't overstress it," encourages Yo-Yo. "I felt like I was moving and nothing happened." "Try it again. Focus on the moment." Emilie closes her eyes and tries again. Once she feels like she's moving, she focuses on the feeling and opens her eyes. Everything looks different. Yo-Yo looks frozen. The air feels stiff, and everything is quiet. She walks across the hangar and closes her eyes again. When she opens them, she falls down on the opposite side behind Yo-Yo. She turns to look at Emilie. "Whoa," said Emilie, excited. "That was amazing. It just felt like my body jolted." "You need to work on your landing," jokes Yo-Yo. They stay out a little longer for her to practice before heading over to DeMarcus's shop. He is surprised to see her when she walks in with Yo-Yo. "Well, well, well," he says, walking over. "Didn't expect to see you again. You come to break another windshield?" "Are you still sore about that?" says Emilie. "So what brings you around?" he asks. "Business. My friend here was having some car trouble. Figured one of your guys could take a look," she suggests. "Sure." "Robbie," he calls. "Take a look at her vehicle." Robbie walks to Emilie's Mustang with Yo-Yo, and DeMarcus walks Emilie over to his office. "So out of all the shops in this area, what made you bring your friend here?" he asks. "I thought you two could benefit from each other." "How so?" "She runs a fight club out of Miami. And word on the street is you have a product that could make things a little more interesting." "Word on the street, huh?" And what's a good girl like you know about the streets these days? Your clientele walk into my clinic all day trying to get a quick fix. You think they're going to keep their mouths shut when I'm waving a prescription for hydro? DeMarcus smiles. Bring your friend downtown tonight. We'll talk. Emilie leaves the office and heads out to the car where Yo-Yo is waiting. He wants to have a sit-down tonight. That's when we get Coulson his sample, she confirms. Robbie and Matt go to help load the shipment up that night. Are you my date for the evening? Says a woman in a black mini dress. This is Natasha, says DeMarcus. Robbie shakes her hand and for a moment loses his train of thought. I guess so. DeMarcus has Mac drive him over to the club while Natasha and Robbie finish overseeing the loading. Once the truck is loaded and heads out, Robbie opens the door to the Charger for Natasha. Aren't you the gentleman? She says, getting in. Before heading to meet DeMarcus at his club, Fitz gives Yo-Yo a fake vial similar to the one the drug is packed in. Are you sure you're up for this? Asks Yo-Yo when they get in the car. Yeah. Emilie looks over to her in the passenger seat. Why wouldn't I be? I'm just asking. This is kind of personal. Me and DeMarcus broke up years ago. I don't have any feelings for him, and Robbie knows that. It just so happens that our history gives me more access to him than Robbie. When they get to the club, Emilie spots DeMarcus talking to the bartender. So what's the girl gotta do to get a man to buy her a drink? Says Emilie, walking up next to him. He steps back and looks her over in a tight red dress with a split exposing her thigh. You sure know how to put a man for a loss at words, he says. He walks her over with Yo-Yo to the VIP. Robbie catches a glimpse of Emilie, and everything around him seems to slow down. He had never seen her dressed up the way she was now, and he was speechless. Rob, this is Emilie, says DeMarcus, introducing them. This is Carmen, she says, introducing Yo-Yo. Natasha comes walking over to Robbie with 2 beers. She sets one down on the table next to him and sits on his lap. DeMarcus pulls Emilie down into his. Your man know you're here? Asks DeMarcus, taking a sip of his drink. You'd think I'd be here with you if I had one? He smiles at her and rubs his hand down her back. I'm just checking. I don't want no problems. Robbie knows she is playing her part in the mission, but can't help but imagine setting fire to DeMarcus's ass. He picks up his beer and it starts to boil in his hand. He chugs it before anyone notices. Come dance with me, says Natasha. I don't dance, says Robbie. Please, she says, rubbing the side of his face. He looks her over for a moment and they walk out onto the floor. Emilie tries not to stare too much, but can't help but get a little jealous watching Natasha dance seductively around Robbie. So, are we going to talk business, or are you just going to rub me down all night? Asks Emilie. I can do both, says DeMarcus. Come with me. He, Emilie, Yo-Yo, and a few of his security head to the back of the club. I hear you're looking to raise the stakes on some of your fighters, says DeMarcus. Inhumans have an edge, says Yo-Yo. One of DeMarcus's men pull a locked case out of a safe in the office. DeMarcus unlocks it and turns it towards Yo-Yo. That's it? She says, questioning the small vials. A little goes a long way, he says. She picks up one of the vials to examine it, and then quickly uses her powers to swap it with the fake provided by Fitz. How much are we talking? She asks. For this case here, 20 grand. Yo-Yo looks at Emilie. And if I need more, how long would it take you to get it? You're in luck. We're about to start manufacturing right here. You can get it straight from the source, he confirms. Let me make a few calls, she says, putting the fake vial back into the case. She rises from her seat and leaves the office. Your friend isn't going to get a better deal than I'm offering. She'll buy, says Emilie reassuringly. The case is placed back in the safe and DeMarcus orders his security out. He walks over to Emilie, pulls her body close, and starts to kiss her neck. "You never were the type to take it slow," she says. "I'm a go-getter," he says, running his hand down the length of her body. She eases him back. "Let me ditch my friend. I'll meet you later." "My place. Tonight," he suggests. Emilie steps out of the office and sees Robbie with Natasha. He glances over at her briefly before focusing back on Natasha. She taps Yo-Yo on the shoulder and the two leave. "You get the vial?" she asks once they are out of the club. "Yep," she says, holding it up. They get in the Mustang and drive over to DeMarcus's neighborhood to wait. "You okay?" asks Yo-Yo. "Yeah. Seeing Robbie with that woman, putting my feelings to the side for the sake of the mission is a little harder than I expected." "You did good," assures Yo-Yo. "I'm sure it's hard on him too." Mac walks over to Robbie. "I think it's time we head out," he insists. "You're taking him away from me so soon? We were just starting to have a good time, weren't we?" says Natasha. "We sure were," agrees Robbie. Mac looks at Robbie, slightly confused. "We're supposed to go to that thing together in the morning, remember?" "Huh?" Robbie says. DeMarcus looks over at the two men, and Mac signals that they're leaving. Mac takes Robbie by the arm and starts leading him out the door. In the car on the way back, Mac stares at Robbie. "What?" he asks, rubbing his head. Mac just shakes his. "What?" asks Robbie again. "Either you just earned yourself an Oscar or a major ass whooping." "What are you talking about?" asks the confused Robbie. "Natasha. The way you were looking at her." "Me?" laughs Robbie. "Are you serious?" Mac continues his stare. "I was just going with it," explains Robbie. "Yeah," says Mac in disbelief. "I hope Emilie knows that." Emilie and Yo-Yo head over to DeMarcus's house. Emilie drops Yo-Yo off down the block and out of sight in case she should need backup. "Can you hear me?" says Emilie, checking her mic. "Loud and clear," confirms Coulson from the jet. She pulls up to the house and grabs a 6-pack of beer from the front seat. "Just remember that the one I laced has the small dent on top of the can. We don't want you drinking out of the wrong one," says Fitz. "Mm-hmm," says Emilie, trying not to draw any attention. She walks up to the door and one of the security guards stops her. "Is this really necessary?" she asks. The guard feels her over with lingering hands before letting her in. "What took you so long?" asks DeMarcus, meeting her in the living room. "You're touchy guard dogs," she says. "Don't worry, I'm the one that bites," he says, caressing her shoulder and guiding her to the bedroom. Emilie puts the beer down on the nightstand and cracks one open that Fitz spiked. "I've been drinking all night, baby girl," he says, refusing the beer. He presses her back against the wall. "You in a hurry?" "I'm never in a hurry. I'm good when you good," he says, kissing on her neck. She grabs his chin and gently guides him back. "We got all night," she says, making him take a sip of the beer. Robbie and Mac enter Coulson's office while they are listening in on Emilie. May and Coulson look at Robbie and then each other. "Someone want to tell me what's going on?" asks a visibly upset Robbie. "Emilie is bugging DeMarcus's place," replies Coulson. DeMarcus finishes his beer and starts kissing on Emilie again. "You sure are lively after that beer," she states. "Are you sure that was the one you spiked?" asks May. "I'm positive," confirms Fitz. "Lay on the bed," she says, pushing DeMarcus back. He lays back with his hands behind his head. Emilie climbs onto his lap and notices his eyes starting to dilate. She unbuttons his shirt as his eyes start to roll around. "I hope you're ready for a long night," she whispers to him just as he passes out. She turns him over and grabs his phone from his back pocket. "And he's out," she confirms. "Okay, plug the USB I gave you into the phone It'll take about 60 seconds for the upload to complete and we can trace his calls, instructs Fitz. Emilie pulls a small USB out of the lining of her dress and does what he says before placing the phone back in his pocket. She takes off her earrings and places them on the nightstand near the bed. She removes his shirt and pulls down his pants before leaving to give him the impression something actually happened. When she's done, she walks out of the front door carrying her shoes. "That was quick," jokes one of the guards. "I have that effect." She smirks as she leaves. She picks Yo-Yo up on her way back to the jet. When they get back to the plane, Robbie is waiting for her by his car. "I'll go talk to Coulson," says Yo-Yo, feeling the tension in the air. "Having fun playing secret agent?" he asks sarcastically. "Are you being serious right now?" Robbie doesn't answer. Instead, he just gives her a serious look. Emilie, not wanting to argue, rolls her eyes and starts to walk away. "Hey," he yells, grabbing her arm. "Robbie, if you don't let go of my arm," she says with an angry voice. He lets go. "What is your problem?" she asks, searching his face for an answer. "I think things got a little carried away tonight," he suggests. "Really? And how would you know that when your eyes were all over the brunette you were with?" she fires. "Oh, now I see where this is going. You're jealous." Emilie laughs. "Why would I be jealous of someone trying to get something they have no chance of getting?" "You tell me," he says. He looks her over and runs his hand down her arm. "You do look good in that dress." It's no wonder he couldn't keep his hands off you. "I think I've had enough hands on me for one night," she says, pulling back and walking away.